Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are returning from the moon and we are taking a very cautious approach. I'm going to retract the radiator because we're going to use the radiator once we exit the atmosphere to cool us down before we re-enter. But I'm going to go ahead and warp to here. We're going to warp towards Kerbin a fair amount. And we are going to do this braking burn once we get down here. Now, I do want to do this outside of the atmosphere, which is why this is not a pure retrograde burn at the periapsis. That would be the best way to do it. But this engine, hot garbage in the atmosphere. So we're going to be using it in the vacuum. I want to warp to here and check what our altitude is. I wish there was a way to see what our altitude would be when this maneuver happened, because I want to do it where we enter the atmosphere exactly at the end of that burn. That would be the ideal way to do it. We're going to need to burn this at about T-minus 25 seconds. And yeah, this is going to be close enough, it looks like. So 25.5 seconds, and we're just going to burn off all the fuel we have remaining. Need to be burning now. Get a bunch of deceleration, and let's retract our solar panels, because we don't want our solar panels burning off during re-entry. Reason being, this is not our only re-entry. Absolutely not. This is going to take several aerobrake passes. 2, maybe 3. I don't know exactly how many, but it'll take some. Okay, we're in Atmo now, and we're just at the tail end of our burn here. Okay. There we go. And that's it. We want to be oriented retrograde right now, as retrograde as we can. We're kind of tumbling. That's to be expected, though, at this point. We don't really have that great of attitude control, but as long as we are bleeding speed, which we absolutely are, I'm happy. Actually, tumbling is kind of a good thing for this re-entry, because that way, hopefully, these heating effects... Oh, I just remembered. I did this in an attempt to try to figure out what was going on with the temperature on the moon, and I should probably have that off for this re-entry. It's a good thing I remembered. But tumbling is actually a good thing right now, to the point where I'm going to turn SAS off. And then once we exit the atmosphere again, I'll turn it back on. And we'll just try to reorient back to retrograde. So we are currently past periapsis. Wait, we have a delta V left? What? I don't think we do. I don't think we actually have a delta V left. But we have multiple aerobrake passes to do here. At least one more. I'm guessing more like 2 more. Is my theory. I don't know why this is reading as having a delta V in it. It definitely doesn't. Like, yeah, there's no delta V there. Very strange indeed. Anyway, we are out of the atmosphere now, so we want to be orienting to retrograde. And I'm going to go ahead and put our solar panels back out. And we will get some cooling done, just in case there's any residual heat left over in this thing, which it looks like there isn't. I'm going to freeze our rotation there, and then we'll go ahead and orient to retrograde. Just very slowly wiggle our way around. We'll bring the radiators back in because they don't seem to be necessary on this particular pass. We are now oriented to retrograde. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and warp to here for right now. This will be a fairly lengthy warp, and we completely missed retrograde. That's, I guess, to be expected. We'll reorient on the way down. So I'm going to physics warp that orientation. There we go. Kind of an awkward way to get there, but it does the trick. Fantastic. Now these nose cones, they're going to eliminate our radiators, so I kind of don't want to fire them. I'll put them there so that they'll just get fully detached. And then, let's go ahead and... This is still on physics warp. Let's go ahead and time warp forward a little bit. We're drifting off of retrograde, though. So once we get to about 100 kilometers, which we are at now, I'll go ahead and let ourselves reorient. Get over to retrograde. There we go. Let's retract our solar panels so that they don't burn off on this aerobrake pass, because I suspect there will be another. Okay. And let's just stay as oriented to retrograde as we can. And here we go. Aerobrake pass 2. Electric Boogaloo. Excellent. In fact, we can just watch our apoapsis here. And our periapsis is, of course, coming down as well. I'm just hoping we're able to hold attitude here, but I'm kind of not counting on it. I'm also hoping we don't come down over mountains this time. That was poorly considered last time. Water would have been much better. We would have had, for one thing, more time for our drogue chutes to deploy. Probably enough time, even, because it would have been like 4 kilometers more. Regardless, this is a really shallow approach. I am taking 0 risks with this. And I'm doing that for a very good reason. We don't have an ablator. And also, they nerfed drogue chutes. So that's a thing. But we should have plenty of atmosphere to slow us down. And you can see that we've dropped almost 500,000 meters so far in this aerobrake pass. But we're almost certainly going to have probably 2 more passes, is my guess. But very little for heating effects this time. We had good attitude, so that's good to see. And then we're just going to keep going around and keep doing this. So as soon as we exit the atmosphere, I'm going to warp back to here. And we will be doing that relatively soon. But before we do that, actually, I do need to extend the solar arrays. That is, of course, at 70 kilometers, so 1 more kilometer. There we go. We'll extend the solar arrays and the radiators just to be on the safe side. I mean, I don't expect that we'll actually do much cooling, but that's fine. Go ahead and warp to there. And off we go. We'll need to do another aerobrake pass. Now, it would have been much faster, to be sure, if we had done these aerobrake passes at, say, 40 kilometers. But at the same time, it would have been a whole lot more dangerous without an ablator, especially with the nerf to drogue chutes. So let's go ahead and get reoriented for this entry. And here we go in 5 kilometers, and we are almost oriented, so that's perfect. And we're at 2.1 megameters here. Megameters? Doesn't really work. 2.1 million meters. So the idea is for this pass to get us down a fair amount more. Like, our periapsis isn't coming down anywhere near as quickly, and that's by design. But every time, our periapsis does dip a little lower, which means that we are eventually going to hit this surface. But look at that apoapsis come down. Is it not gloriously slow? So I was maybe too aggressive with the last one, maybe too conservative with this one. But there is one more, so maybe that one I'll get just right. And that one is actually ready to go. I checked in on it before I started, not this episode, but the one before. It's currently completely full of both ore and fuel, so it's good to go. So the moment we get this guy landed, we can hop over there and bring that one right on back. Well, we've come down 100,000 kilometers so far. No, 100,000 meters in our apoapsis. So that's a good sign. We are, of course, at our, or actually we're past our periapsis, and we're coming back up. But every time our periapsis does dip a little bit lower. In retrospect, I should have probably targeted 50 kilometers. I think we would have been fine. But, I mean, this is going to get us there. It's just a matter of time. So we are going to be exiting the atmosphere again very soon, and then we're going to have to go for a 4th aerobrake pass. And probably a 5th beyond that. I mean, this did come down by almost 0.2 million meters. So almost 200,000 kilometers. Actually, it is pretty much 200,000 kilometers exactly that it came down. So that's not too bad. That's only, 9 more passes. But realistically, each pass is going to be more effective than the last. So we'll do that. I'll only extend one of each this time. And then we'll warp around to here. Perfect. As we come back in, we'll reorient, retract the radiator. I'm going to physics warp as we turn and fall towards the atmosphere. Okay, we're in position. We'll be entering the atmosphere in about 10 kilometers. I'm going to go ahead and pull back this Gigantor. And I'm going to time warp until we hit the atmosphere. There we go. Perfect. And we'll just hold retrograde here again. And hopefully we'll come down at least 250,000 meters this time. That would be nice. You can see that our periapsis is now about 100 meters lower as well. So we're now spending about 2 minutes in the atmosphere every aerobrake pass, which is not too bad. Could be better. Like I said, I probably should have targeted about 50 kilometers for this one. 30 was clearly too low, although we were coming down over the mountains, and we otherwise probably would have been okay. But it's clear that 60 is too high. I think 40 would be okay if we had a proper ablator. Maybe like 45, but I think 50 might actually be the sweet spot for this particular mission. So, this is highly engaging content, I'm sure, as we repeatedly aerobrake. Is it not truly glorious? So, I think what I'm going to do is, it's pretty much time to put a cut in, so I think I'm going to do that, and I'm going to keep doing these aerobraking passes, and then once we're basically ready for re-entry, I'll come back with the next episode. So subscribe for more, and I'll see you all next time.